One of the things I say on podcasts all the time that I think is kind of funny, I say the only thing worse than being an entrepreneur is being married to one. And I assume it's probably very similar to being married to or dating a peak performer if you didn't know what you were signing up for. Today we're going to talk a little bit about that.
I think a lot of people want to be with someone of significance and want to be with someone who has goals and dreams and they're dedicated to reaching their full potential. However, do you also want what comes with that?
Next Level Nation, today for episode number 2246, a conversation every high performer has to have with their partner. Look, you don't have to do anything. I think it would be beneficial. I was watching Business Growth University. Alan Lazarus is hosted by the illustrious business magnate and coach Alan Lazarus.
Oh, man.
And I was watching the episode with Lauren Johnson. And one of the things you guys were talking about was how being a high performer, essentially at the end of the day, when you're somebody who puts goals over relationships, it can make things challenging. It can make things challenging. And I think just to start this episode, that is, so there, can you explain RG and GR, and then we'll go from there.
So there's 3 buckets in this. There's people who are goals first, relationships second. That is definitely me. There's people who are relationships first and goals second. And then there's people that are fake goals first and relationships second. So let me go through each. All right. Michael Phelps talks about, so he has 23 medals. I think 28 medals, 23 gold. Most gold medals in history. And I use him, I actually am a fan, but he has a documentary on HBO that talks about the weight of gold. And he unpacks how many Olympic athletes have killed themselves because they lost themselves in their craft and because of how hard it is and the pressure, and you only are recognized once in 4 years for 4 years of, and it's a whole thing. So, and when you compete at the highest level, you dedicate your entire life to something, and then when you lose, it can be devastating. I am so fascinated by that whole thing because, whoa, there is nothing more inspiring to me than someone who dedicates their entire existence to achieve something and they still might not. Like, that's, to me, just unbelievable. But the reason I mentioned Michael Phelps is because he's obviously goals first, relationships second. And he talked about how for 5 years straight, he was in a pool every day, birthdays, holidays, everything. He missed everything. He was in the pool every day, at least once a day, sometimes 5 times a day. And he talks about this in interviews and how he brought mental health challenges and all kinds of stuff. But he's an extreme example of goals first, relationships second. I am definitely that, even though in the past I think I tried to be relationships first and it never worked because I'm not wired that way, and that always came to a head. Then there's other people who are relationships first and goals second. So goals first, relationships second is your relationships are a byproduct of your goals. So my relationship with Kevin is one of the strongest I've ever had, but it is a byproduct of our mutual goals. If you take away Kevin and I's goals, literally take them away, gone, we wouldn't even be doing this episode. The talks we had earlier wouldn't have happened. We would have gone back to back in the day when we would just cross paths barely, but okay. So people who are GR, goals first, relationships second, their relationships are a byproduct of their goals. People who are relationships first, goals second, their goals are actually a byproduct of their relationships based on the tribal stuff we talked about in the last episode. So, for example, if Kevin, this is hypothetical, but I think this is also somewhat true. When I first met Kev, he had a certain goal. He was kind of into personal development. He had a company back in the day called Better Every Fucking Day.
I would take it very easy with company.
Okay, you had a website.
I would take it very easy. We had maybe a blog post or two. Like, okay. This wasn't very thought out.
Well, hashtag BEFD.
Yes, it was something.
Better Every Fucking Day.
Yeah, it was something.
I loved it.
I appreciate it.
Hey,
yeah.
I saw that and I was like, that's what's up.
If more people loved it, and honestly, that wasn't even the problem. You got to do it for more than like a week was the problem.
I loved it. You think I don't
I
know?
appreciate it.
At Never Quit Kid, baby, I noticed those things.
I've been honing this relationship for longer than you know.
You came up to me at a Halloween party. I don't know what Campus Libre is, but I like it.
I like it.
Yeah, you were a
Respect.
goddamn genie.
Respect.
Just for fun for a second. Do you have any pictures of this?
Yeah.
We have a picture. We can blur out the photo of
The person's
other
face
folks.
is blurred out because of
Okay,
how
good.
hammered they were. I felt.
Can you send the team the photo so we can throw it up on YouTube?
Yeah.
Yeah.
This
is Kevin and I before we were business partners.
Oh well,
and-
I'll update it into the folder where this episode lives, team.
Nice. Throw that up. Awesome. Kevin is in a genie. You're like a genie in a bottle or something?
No, so I'm a genie,
Nice.
and the part you rub is on my lower half. Just say
that. The part you rub?
The part you rub is on my lower half, and
Yeah.
this was always it for me. As somebody who is always in pretty good shape, the only costumes I would wear were the ones that required the least clothing. That was just a rule of thumb. That's how I came up with my costumes. Please don't judge me on that, but I judge
It is
myself
what it
as
is.
well.
And I was a Backstreet Boy
Yes.
with drawn-on tattoos. I
Nick
was Nick
Carter.
Carter. Nick Carter, specifically. I had my microphone. I don't think I have it in the photo because we were ripping shots. But anyways, that's
Captain
a different time. My point of this, what was I talking about before that?
I don't know. Relationships are RGGR.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
So Kev and I's relationship were built on mutual goals. So I had a goal to be a successful podcaster. He was my first guest on a podcast called Conversations Change Lives. He insists it was a YouTube channel, okay?
Mm-hmm.
But it says podcast in the title of the YouTube. We
fair.
saw that on group coaching on Tuesday. And so he was my first guest. He had the Hyperconscious podcast. I was his first guest. So we teamed up as mutual goals. So if you take away the goals, you also take away the relationship. And you go back to you and I ripping shots at a random party that...
Not bad, though. It's a decent relationship.
I don't do that anymore. So
That's fair,
that
yeah.
would be the end.
But what if you did still?
No.
What if in an alternate universe, you and I are still Genie and Nick Carter right now? Who knows?
That would be a hell of a throwback. We're not going to do that, but that would be fun. It would be fun, honestly.
For sure.
I think there's a part of me that wishes we could do that, but I just can't live with myself. Okay, so we're going to move forward. And so goals first, relationship second is, I think, a very small percentage of the population. Based on my ChatGPT research, only less than 4% of people have clear written goals. So it's probably around that percentage. Okay. The majority of people, their goals are a byproduct of their relationships, which means if you are part of a community that has goals, you probably have your goals too. So think of, you have a friend who went to CrossFit and you started CrossFitting, and now you also have fitness goals. They weren't actually of your own accord. They were because you were a part of a tribe that had goals. And so the world is filled with goals first, relationship second people like Michael Phelps, and then people that are relationships first, goals second, and they hurt each other all the time. They don't mean to. But like, I had a friend who would be so upset with me that I didn't wish him a happy birthday. I'm like, dude, I don't even notice my own birthday. My own birthday is in like 10 days. I genuinely don't care. I know this sounds crazy. I know a lot of people care about their birthday. I'm not hating on you. I just don't care. So he would get upset. And it's like, brother, don't take it personally. I got bigger things to think about than your birthday, with love, right? And I now realize in hindsight, he's relationship first, goals second, doesn't really have any goals, so he can't understand what it's like to dedicate my entire focus every day to orienting towards goals. So I now realize that most of my being misunderstood and misunderstanding others is a byproduct of this. Now, my least favorite kind are fake GR. These are people who act like their goals are first, when in reality they actually care about the relationship. And unfortunately, those people really end up hurting people and getting hurt, because I've had people in the past do this. I would be there for the goals, and they would be there for the relationship. And I take part in this too. I probably pretended to care about the relationship more than I really did, when in reality for me it was about the goals and the mission. And they definitely pretended to care about the goals and the mission when they didn't really give a shit. And so eventually that delusion pops, and then your heart gets hurt. And so we're just constantly hurting each other by not being true to who we are. And I am as guilty of that when it comes to this, because I now lean into goals first, relationship second. I don't pretend to care about birthdays anymore, because I just don't. So whereas I used to pretend to care, and then that would create a manufactured relationship that eventually had to pop, and that would hurt people. So I'm done with all that. And I think it takes tremendous courage to be all of who you are. So own whichever one of these you actually are, and then understand the implications of each.
I was on a podcast recently, and they asked, we were talking about something. It was a very interesting podcast where they essentially interviewed me, and they're going to write a post about it. Not a post, but like they're going to write a blog or something. Mm-hmm. And at one point I said, I'm really hard to be friends with. And they're like, no, you seem like such a good, trust me, I'm really hard to be friends with.
Nice.
When you're with me, it's easy, but that is going to be very rare.
Mm-hmm.
I said, I see Alan all the time. I would consider Alan a best friend, but again, based on this, I see Alan twice a year in person. 2 times a year in person.
Yeah. Next Level Hope Foundation.
Next Level Hope Foundation. Now, if we get a studio again and all that, that might change, but that's based on the fucking goals, not because
which is coming up, by the way.
Yes.
Squad. Everybody. Yeah. We're going to have the GoFundMe link soon. Thank you so much. We know who donates. Thank you. It's going to be in December. Stephanie leads that department. There's going to be a link soon. Probably in the next 2 to 3 weeks.
I think it's the 20th. I think we're doing it.
December 20th. Holidays. We wrap gifts for the kids. Yeah.
Good. Yes. We appreciate you so very much. And that is another thing. This started based on the fact that Alan and I both grew up without our dads. Like that was a common thing that we had together that brought us close. That helped our relationship. So I see Alan twice a year.
Remember we used to fish?
I remember we used to fish. Of course, I miss that.
Every Father's Day, baby.
I miss that.
We used to fish and talk deep talks.
One of these days we'll be able to do it'll be a next level retreat. Just Alan and I. And we'll go fishing. Just us. Okay? Cool.
I don't know about that.
Putting that out in the universe. All right. I see Alan twice a year.
Mm-hmm.
Other best friend, Matt. Best man at his wedding a couple months ago, right? I see him maybe every 2 months. Maybe. Now, he's busy too. He's grinding. He has his own business. He's busy too. I literally messaged him, 3 days ago. I haven't even heard back. He literally was like, hey, man, long time no talk. We got to catch up. I know the holidays or something. Let's get something on the books. I messaged him. I don't expect to hear back until probably next week.
Nice.
That is the way it is.
That is a mature relationship.
Well, but I also understand that is an acquired taste. And I don't think we would have the same relationship if he wasn't an entrepreneur. If he wasn't a high performer, if he wasn't a dream chaser, if he wasn't somebody that's doing something outside the realm of what a lot of people want to do. So I think this is the point of this episode, a conversation every high performer has to have with their partner. Tara and I have these conversations often. I'm not necessarily going to show up in the same way at the same time to the same frequency as maybe other people expect. I kind of can. I kind of can't. I say this to the people I play golf with. It's either Saturday afternoon, after 2, can't be before. I'm not going to play in the morning. It has to be after 2. I got to get my 6 hours minimum of work in on Saturday. It's got to be on Sunday. It will never be during the week in the morning. In the summer months, like you can play at 7 o'clock at night. I could do that like 7 o'clock at night on a Friday or something, but it's never going to be, what do you think? You sneak out early Friday at noon? No, it'll never be. It can't be that.
Yeah.
It can't be that. So
you and Taryn had a very mature conversation when you first met.
Yeah,
Did she prompt that or you?
I think she prompted that.
Yeah, she does that.
I think she prompted that. We were chatting one day.
She prompts the good combos.
And this was in the first apartment we had together, our little one bedroom apartment where we
COVID, you had to move in, remember?
Yeah.
I remember.
This is our first encounter with living with one another. And she said, you have to make me one promise if we're going to be together. I was like, what do you got? She said, you can't force me to be an entrepreneur. Fucking done. Would never wish that on anybody.
Would never wish that on anybody.
Done. Awesome. Done. And I said, you have to promise me you'll never try to take away the podcast. Because this is what I'm dedicating my life to. Like, I gave everything up for this.
And who you are is a byproduct of that.
I wasn't at that level of understanding at that point. So I just said, the podcast.
I remember one time you said she didn't sign up for this. I was like, yes, she did.
Well, she signed up to be with me.
She signed up for Kevin Palmieri, and this is Kevin Palmieri, baby.
And what I always say is I didn't understand what this was going to take, so I don't expect anybody else to either.
Agreed.
But I think this is a really important conversation because here's the thing. If you've, and again, this is going to sound like super, I don't know, elitist isn't the best word, I don't know. You'll get the point.
Say it with your chest.
Say it with your chest. If you're somebody who is newer into peak performance and newer into self-improvement and newer into trying to be next level, and you haven't been in a relationship since you've gotten into self-improvement, it's going to change your relationships for sure.
Yeah.
Because your values, I used to drink all the time and now I don't really feel like drinking anymore. I'd rather stay in and do whatever. That is going to change potential relationships. 100%. And if you communicate that in advance, and I say, Alan, just so you know, imagine we're in a relationship together. I know that's something you probably dreamed about for as long as we've been together. You're not my type. I've told you that before. Obviously kidding. Hey, man, I know you like to go fucking do nose candy on the weekends. Like, that ain't it. That ain't it for me. You know, like, I live a pretty...
Why would you pick that?
Because I knew it'd get a laugh.
Yeah, that's funny shit.
I know you like to get a little wild.
Candy.
I'm somebody who lives a pretty straightforward life. That ain't it for me.
Yeah.
If I can in advance prepare you for the potential pains in the butt that I'm going to be, I want to be accepted for the strengths and I want to be accepted for the weaknesses. And I think that's the thing is, to Alan's point, I feel like everybody wants to be with somebody doing something in the world.
Yeah.
Right? Everybody who wakes up with a fucking purpose and is committed and doesn't let the bullshit get in the way. Like, look, I had a partner in the past. I used to say this. It doesn't matter what time we stay up till. I need to leave at 5 a.m. Every single time I left at 5 a.m. I know it seems like a pain in the ass. I know. That's also the only reason you're with me. You just we haven't had that conversation.
It is the only reason.
It's the only reason.
I'm so grateful you said that.
Because you like the drive. Everybody wants somebody who's driven. That's attractive.
Everybody wants someone with goals, who's 100%. Driven, who's conscientious, who's intelligent.
So that's the point of this episode. When you get into a relationship, the thing that might have attracted your partner to you is also going to be the thing that might be the biggest pain in the ass in your relationship.
Nice.
And I think if you have a conversation about that in advance, you're going to have a much higher likelihood of success.
I coach couples and individuals in relationships. Been doing it for 5 years. Wild, because I never anticipated that. There's a lot of things I did anticipate, but that wasn't one of them. And it's been really trippy. It's been cool. But I say this. There's 2 single individuals I'm thinking of right now. I'll keep it anonymous. One of them is a girl, heterosexual. One of them is a man, heterosexual. To the man, I say, if you focus on your goals, the girls will come. Not pun intended. Okay? All right. Now everyone's thinking that. Sorry. It is what it is. We're all adults here.
Yeah, we are.
And for the kids listening, you don't know what I'm talking about. All right. If you focus on the girl might run. My point is, who you are as a fucking man is a byproduct of your goals. The work we're doing, brother. You're killing it. You're doing it. You're on it. You're a high value man. You're becoming more valuable. You're appreciating in value. You're increasing in value. It's very attractive to women. That's wonderful. When you meet your girl, don't make the mistake that I've made in the past where you focus more on the girl than the goals and then the value goes and then she's not interested and then she leaves you for some other guy. I was cheated on in high school. It fucking sucked. The point that I'm making is you need to stay focused on who you are. And your goals are a part of who you fucking are. Okay? Same with the woman. I said the same thing, but with guys. I said, if you focus on the goals, the guys will come. If you focus on the guys, they might run. Because they want to be with a woman who's high value. I shared this in masterclass last night. We don't talk about this much. Maybe we do an episode at some point. Not this one. Everyone wants to be a high value. If I said, who here wants to be a high value man or woman, or whatever you identify as, everyone would raise their hand.
What's the definition of that? Because I think the internet has fucked up what that actually means.
I mean, it is contextual, obviously, but there are fundamentals. Okay, in shape, goals, character-driven, financially free, big, bright future, attractive, healthy, fulfilled, productive. Like these are things everyone wants. And respectful, but like
driven.
Someone who has drive and who has a bigger, better, brighter future. You know what it's like to be a low value man and a high value man, okay? You know what it's like to be overlooked literally and figuratively from women.
Mhm.
I'm going to share this very briefly. In middle school, I looked like a Backstreet Boy. You don't know this, but when we were in middle school, we went to the same middle school.
Are you about to devastate my reality right now?
Maybe real quick.
Okay.
In my middle school, our middle school.
Yep.
All right, my timer's going off. We're not done yet.
It's probably a sign.
In our middle school,
Yep.
they created a new rule that the 8th grade girls can't come down to the 5th grade wing because of me.
Interesting.
Okay.
Never knew that.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, I was a bowl cut, blonde, blue-eyed, Backstreet Boy looking guy.
Mhm.
I had Clarissa and Brittany shared me, quote unquote.
Mhm.
I had all the girls, whatever. Valentine's Day, I remember I got $50 once from a person named Kaylee on Valentine's Day. You know who I'm talking about. It's funny. Kevin thinks it's hilarious. Now, I was very popular, and then I went all the way to the bottom of the totem pole. Everyone else hit puberty, and I didn't. And there was 3 of the shortest people in our grade. It was me, Kevin Palmieri, and a guy named David. And
David,
Kevin knows exactly who I'm talking
Of
about.
course.
I'm 37 in 10 days. I'm still working on puberty. The point is, I was a fucking loser in high school. And I had to figure out how to become a high-value man. And I had to play the long game because I was competing with a guy who could dunk a basketball backwards and who looked like a grown-ass man when he was fucking 16.
Mm.
The point that I'm making, though, is everyone wants to be high-value. I've been a low-value man, as have you. And we both are now what I believe to be high-value men. And the reason we are high value is because we have goals and because we have work ethic and because we have worked on ourselves and invested in ourselves. What's the difference between a mansion and a shack? The mansion has invested more money and more time into being a mansion, metaphorically, and the shack is just anyone can live there. So at the end of the day, if you want to be a high value man or high value woman or whatever you identify as, it's going to require effort. And to bring this back to the point of this episode, I'm going to kick it to Kev.
I feel like I want to throw something in there. One of my requirements for being a high-value human being is your character exceeds your results. That. Nice. I'm going to throw that out there because I don't give a fuck. If you have everything else and you're an asshole, don't care. You're not high value.
Nice.
Don't care.
You never said that out loud, by the way.
What?
You never said it like that before.
You told me, Ellen said, say it with your chest.
Well, luckily my results weren't very high when you met me.
It was helpful. No, you were respectful. You were never disrespectful. But that, I think, one of the reasons you were at times, but less than most.
Yeah.
One of the reasons I said, what does it mean to be a high value man in this case, is because I think the internet has skewed. There's a lot of people that say I'm going to smoke my cigar on my yacht because I'm a high value man.
Oh,
Look,
yeah.
You're an asshole, is what you are. You're an asshole. Okay.
Good for you.
The point of this episode is, I think, going into a relationship, you have to set expectations. I used to go into a relationship and think I'm going to change everything about myself to align with the expectations of this person. And that's not healthy either. So I think if you sit down and you set expectations and say, look, this is the way I am, but these are the things I value. And the things I value are going to require certain things from me that maybe they don't require from other people. I just think statistically, you probably have a better chance. If you're somebody if you're a morning riser, it's probably good to say, hey, just so you know, I wake up early. And I like waking up early. I'm fulfilled when I wake up early. It allows me to get more done. I'm probably not somebody who's going to go to a movie at 11 o'clock at night. That's just not the way I'm wired, quote unquote.
I have something of tremendous value that saved me a lot of pain and suffering, and I really sucked at this for most of my life, genuinely. The whole setting the right expectations and stuff, I didn't do that. I didn't know how to do that. That was such a blind spot for me. But 2 things. One is you have to know yourself in order to communicate what to expect.
For sure.
So self-awareness is where this starts. Number 2, it takes tremendous courage to say, hey, this is who I am and this is who I actually want to be. So you don't have to change. Like when I say I haven't taken a day off in 10 years, people think, oh, I have to fix you. You're a workaholic. No. I promise you this is by choice. Like, I'm way more fulfilled. And by the way, way more fulfilled than you. I'm kidding. All right. But I got to say that because sometimes it's like, why are you coaching me on life? You burnout? I'm kidding. All right. So this is the thing that I really want to say, though. This saved me so much pain and suffering. I'm not interested, but thank you. I'm not interested, but thank you. Best quote, best line ever. Hey, do you want to fucking... Hey, I'm not interested, but thank you so much. It's a but, not an and. Hey, do you want to buy... I'm not interested, but thank you. Best thing ever. If I ever reach out to you and invite you to something and you don't want to go, just say, hey, Alan, I'm not interested, but thank you. And I'll say, no worries. Take care. I totally get it. Last piece. You have to be with someone in an intimate relationship especially, and yes, I'm talking as a coach right now because I coach couples, who actually wants you to be more of you. Yep. They can't want you to be different than who the fuck you are. And I think we start off, I certainly did in the past, where you're trying to put on this sort of, well, it's the first date. Let me dress a little nicer than I usually do or whatever. Let me be a little different. Let me try to be what they need. Let me try to show my best self. But over time, that bubble pops if you can't sustain it. And you can't sustain it if it's not authentic to who you actually are. And so Kevin and I, last piece, we did this in business. We were in a business partnership. He tried to pretend to be more like me, more success-oriented, more goal-oriented. I pretended to be a little bit more like him, which is fun and playful and all that kind of stuff. And we weren't being inauthentic. That was a part of us. But that was 10% of who I am. The 90% is success, goals, drive, let's fucking go. And the opposite is true too. So we've kind of driven to 5. Obviously, he's gotten more goal-oriented. I've obviously gotten more funny and fun. But at the end of the day, we weren't being authentic to who we are, and the yin wasn't yang, and the yang wasn't yinning. So the point is, it takes courage to be who you actually are, and to say no, and to say yes. And every yes is a no to something else.
Boom. Yeah, I think the level setting, right? Setting expectations is really important for anything. For anything. If you get on a roller coaster and somebody's like, hey, just so you know, this thing does loops. Like, you know what? I'm gonna step off. This ain't for me. You get on you get on the teacups, they say, look, this spins a couple times and you're done. It's like, this probably isn't what I'm looking for. Go ahead.
Hindsight's 20/20. I do like that quote. I think it's accurate.
I'm blind in one eye, so it still isn't, but I get the point.
You're a 36-year-old man, and you had several relationships before Taryn. Okay. How obvious is it in hindsight that some of those weren't going to fucking work?
Oh, it's abundantly obvious.
Okay.
Yeah.
Can you give us an example without saying any names where it's just, there's no fucking chance, right? There's no way. I think these are fun because I have one where it's like, Alan, are you kidding me?
Simplest one. I dated somebody who loved being the center of attention, was really good at being the center of attention. Just was somebody who had a really high energy and just walked into a room and you knew it. And they liked going to bars and going to parties with 20, 30 people. And I was like, fuck yeah, I could do that. Hell yeah, I could do that. And so I did it for a few times. And it was like, this isn't who I am. And it's not who I aspire to be either.
And now in hindsight, how obvious is that you're going into the very place where you're unwanted?
Well, I was wanted by the person I was with, so it didn't seem like it mattered that much. But that was never.
Yeah.
Look, I'm the kind of guy who.
You mean Taryn's not a high-rise bar hopper?
No, I'm grateful for that. Now again, we have our date nights, but we literally joke. It's like, hey, you want to go see a movie at 6 p.m.? It's like, fuck no. There's no way. We're not gonna be out till 8. I'm not gonna be home till 8:30. There's no way. I love that. Like
nice.
we literally live life like elderly folks.
As do we. Yeah, we joke. We're Emilia turned 31. I said 31 going on 87. I love it.
I need it because
the wisest wizard.
I do like getting up early.
Mm-hmm.
Right now I don't because I'm sick and I really want to sleep in. But I enjoy getting up early. I enjoy doing what I do. I enjoy having a morning routine. I enjoy going to the gym. I enjoy that type of stuff. And
this is why delusion is not of use. If you delude yourself, both of our situations in the past where it's obvious looking back that would never work. This person had no goals.
Well,
Zero goals.
We wouldn't have stories to tell on the podcast if it wasn't for delusion.
Fair. But delusion is dangerous.
For sure.
Because if you delude yourself into thinking imagine me with no goals.
I cannot imagine that.
I would be so unfulfilled.
Yeah.
She's like, hey, can you watch trash TV with me? No. I was like, it was a you know how there's a finale?
Mhm.
I remember sitting there and I was like, this is it. This is the end. This is the breaking point. I can't do this. It was The Bachelorette or something like that. And again, if you like that stuff, whatever. Do you. That ain't me. That ain't me. I was boiling inside. I was like, I cannot do this. I think this is the end of our relationship. And at the end of the day, it's nothing against her. It's this true principle. I'm never going to like, hey, can you just take the day off and just do nothing today with me? No, abso-fucking-lutely not. Now I'm with the hardest working person I've ever met in my entire life, and I'm the one pulling her out of her office. It's fucking awesome. And I just realized in hindsight, you just delude yourself into thinking that you can make something work that you can't. And I think that goes for both success and intimate relationships, and they're connected. If you make a bad choice in your intimate relationship, you're not going to be successful.
I had a win one time where Alan and I watched some fights together while we ate Domino's, and I was like, fuck yeah, this is a win. This is a W for me. Mm-hmm. As long as it's not pulling Alan out of when he was working too, well, he did it, but
then I asked you everything about martial arts and how it all works, and
yeah, that's true.
I know now all about Muay Thai and grappling and all the different modalities of martial arts.
I wouldn't say all about
I know
it.
a lot about them though.
Based on a
lot more than I would have. Yeah.
Yeah, but that's because you also, Emilia is a Muay Thai practitioner. It wasn't based on that one conversation. You've been
of course. But I like to learn that stuff. I think that's really cool.
I remember I was asking you. I was like, hey, I don't know, man. How does what's the difference between comfort mode in my car and sport mode? Like, how does that work? I push a button and the button makes the engine more powerful? It doesn't make any sense. It was interesting. It was very interesting. All right, cool. So what can you take away from this episode? If you are somebody who is leaning more into peak performance and maybe your partner isn't necessarily, it's worth having a conversation. Because essentially it's almost like you're getting a new job without any of the benefits of the job, essentially. And you have nothing to show for it, but you have new hours and you have different responsibilities, and I think it's important to communicate those. So that is that. If you are somebody who obviously is leaning more into peak performance and you are in a relationship, Alan and Emilia do relationship talks coaching. And I can't imagine two people that are better to serve you, since they both are super high performers and they both have businesses. And yeah, they've worked with a lot of people at this point. I'll let you talk about it.
Yeah, it's how do we identify where you're missing each other? We have 25 conscious love languages, and I promise you there's items on that list that are happening in your relationship where maybe the female values them at level 10 and the male values it at level 2, and you're just completely missing each other. Male, female, heterosexual, homosexual, doesn't matter. We coach all walks of life. As long as you're a heart-driven, good person who's respectful and not a spoiled brat or a bully, we're in. If you want to do that, the first one's free. We first started out calling it Service Saturday 5 years ago, and we did a free half hour every single Saturday for a year and a half, and then eventually we couldn't sustain that, and we eventually did it for paid coaching. So the first one's still free. Reach out to me, DM me on Instagram, that'll be me. Email me, my email will be in the show notes. And we actually just signed on a new client. Shout out to you if you're listening. And it is every single time there are obvious things to us, because this is what we've done for 5 years. It's so clear to me when couples are missing each other now, because we've just seen the patterns over and over again. So get a third, fourth perspective, and it will change we have couples engaged, married, buying houses, goals, dreams. There's actually a study, last piece. There's a study that they did in 2016. I can't quote the scientists. I wish that I could. I got to get to that point. But they proved that people who have goals together and work toward them together are less likely to divorce. This has been scientifically proven with a decade-long study. And so we are not just therapists or counselors. We're coaches. And as coaches, we do a 10-year roadmap, 5-year roadmap, 3-year roadmap, 2-year roadmap, and then we break it down to this quarter. And we have people achieving their dreams together. Way beyond income, way beyond. You're going to get, two of the best coaches in your corner, making sure you both not only are in love, but also succeed.
That's what we all want. We want to be in love. We want to be successful. Nice. All right, cool. As always, we love you. We appreciate you. Grateful for each and every one of you. And if you are as committed as you say you are to getting to the next level, make sure you tune in tomorrow, because we'll be here every single day to help you get there.
Keep reaching for your full potential. Next Level Nation.